Most of the time, I'm telling you, don't go to networking events or to conferences, but today's a little different. I'm Greg, I'm the introverted networker, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to network at conferences. And it's timely because next week, I myself am going to be at a conference. So I'm going to share a little bit about my strategy of how I get ready to go to conferences so that I can connect with the people I want to connect with, and also some other creative things you can do to help you meet new people and find those new connections at conferences. I'm going to a conference next week in Las Vegas. I'm one of the panel moderators, so I'm actually involved with the conference, which I like to do because it's not a lot of preparation and I get to go to the conference for free and they pay for 2 nights in the hotel room. So it's a little bit of a boondoggle, I'll admit it. But usually I stay away from networking events and conferences. It's not my favorite thing to do. I find that they're draining. My energy gets low. It's really hard to be around all those people. And I feel like it's not the best way to connect. At the same time, many of you go to conferences. It's something you like to do. Many people know it's sort of a necessity. It's how you learn new things. It's how you connect with people. So they're not all bad. You just need a good strategy going into them so that you make the most of them in terms of connecting. So I talked about this way back in issues 15 and 16. I mean, we're on like issue 140 something now. And this was way back at the beginning when I started doing my newsletter. But all of those things that I talked about in those previous issues are still relevant. And I have some updates there as well. So I'm going to talk about a few different strategies that you can use to get ready to go to a conference so that you can connect with the right people, and also what to do when you get to the conference. So the first thing about going to a conference is preparation. As with a lot of things in life, you have to put your plan in place and start working your plan before you get to the conference. And I'm a big believer in this because the last thing I want to do is go to a conference and just wander around trying to meet random people. And so I plan out who I'm going to meet. So what you want to do is, number one, find people who are going to the conference and connect with them before you get to the conference. And you can connect with them either through the conference app, because a lot of conferences have an app now that shows who's going, and you can send connection requests, kind of like LinkedIn. So you can connect with people in advance that way. The other way is through LinkedIn. So you can find out who's going usually. It's usually people will share that they're going, or you can look up attendees. Sometimes you can find those lists and go through and find people who look interesting so that you can connect with them before you go and at least say, hey, I'm going to be there, would love to meet. Let's try to find a time. So connect with people before you go. And 2 groups of people specifically to connect with. Number one, the conference organizers. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but there's somebody who's in charge of signing people in and getting people where they're supposed to go and taking care of speakers and stuff. If you can find the conference organizers, those are great people to connect with, because when you get there, you'll see them and you can say, oh my God, you're so-and-so, you signed me up for the conference. It's great to meet you in person. And those people quite often will know other people to connect you with. They'll know who you should talk to. And so they're really good people, in addition to just being able to ask questions about the insides and knowledge on the conference. So I would say conference organizers are great to connect with. Secondly, and probably the most important, conference speakers. You are definitely going to know who the conference speakers are because their name's in the program. So find out what they're speaking about. Go connect with them on LinkedIn. Start a conversation. Say, hey, saw you're speaking, really looking forward to it. Was wondering if you were going to cover this and this and this, or was really interested to hear sort of what your point of view was going to be. You don't have to get too into it, but if you're a person who shows up before the conference in their LinkedIn or some other way, and you start a conversation with them, what that's going to do is, after they're done, and as a conference speaker, I would definitely recommend wait till after they've done their presentation, because before their presentation, they're going to be too nervous and they're going to be too focused on it to talk to you. After they finish their presentation, you can go up to them and say, hey, remember we connected online? I loved what you said about this and this. Would love to talk to you about that. Now they know who you are, because there's going to be all these people that are going to run up to them after they're done and ask them questions, and they're going to be, answering a bunch of questions. But if you already know them, they're probably going to set aside some time to want to talk to you, to get to know you. And, they may know other speakers as well. So people who get picked to speak at conferences are usually people who are leaders in the industry, have a unique point of view. They're probably well connected, so they're good people to connect with. So reach out to conference speakers in advance and make sure they're part of your pre-conference connection strategy. So that's number one, is make sure that you connect before you go to the conference. The second thing is, when you go to the conference, okay, and this is a little bit of preparation, but it's also when you get there. One thing that every conference has is name tags, okay? So name tags are something that everybody has at a conference. And usually they're printed for you when you get there. Sometimes they give them to you in advance. So the one that I'm going to next week, they sent me my name tag in advance. And what I did is I like to customize my name tag. Now, why do I like to customize my name tag? Well, number one, everybody's going to have the same name tag. And if yours looks different, people are going to ask, hey, how did you get a different name tag? Or they're going to see it and they're going to be like, what's on your name tag? And so on my name tag, what I like to put is the type of people I would like to meet at the conference. And so I got my name tag and I went into a PDF modifying program because it came as a PDF. And I said, I want to meet CHROs, chief people officers, or HR leaders facing total rewards or turnover issues in their organization. That's the kind of people that are my ideal client, my ideal customer in my business. So I modified this so that when I put it in the holder, it's going to look different than everybody else's name tag. And when people read it, because it's right next to my name, right? So they're going to see my name and be like, oh, hey, Greg, nice to meet you. And then they're going to see this thing and they're going to go, oh, okay, so that's who you're looking. I know so-and-so, or I just met a CHRO. I just met a chief people officer. Let me introduce you to them. And so I like to modify this just as a way to tell other people what I'm looking for. So in case they meet somebody that fits that profile, they're going to remember me and say, I need to introduce you to Greg. Doesn't always happen. It's not 100%, but it's a good way to help other people connect you at the conference. So it's kind of preparation. If you can get your name tag in advance, get it in advance and modify it. If you can't, when you get to the conference, take a bright marker. So take a marker with you or take a pen or something that you can find that will stand out and write on your name tag. Actually modify it and write on it. The other thing is you can come up with your own name tag. You can create a separate name tag and put it on your lanyard, which sometimes I've done that where I've taken my LinkedIn QR code and I've printed it out and put it on a separate name tag and attached it to my lanyard. So again, you look different, you stand out, people are going to ask about it. It's a good way to strike up conversations at a conference. Speaking of your LinkedIn QR code, when you're at a conference and you're networking and you're talking to some people, lots of people hand out business cards, and fine, whatever. I don't. I hate business cards. I get it. I understand why people have them. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a business card. I myself do not. I use my LinkedIn QR code. And so what is that? In LinkedIn, you can go into the LinkedIn app and there's an actual QR code that takes people to your profile. So what you do is when you open your LinkedIn app, there's a search bar at the top. And you go and you click in that search bar. And when you do that, to the right, there's going to be a little QR code symbol. If you click on that, it's going to bring up your QR code with your picture. Have that on your phone. And I actually like to save it to my photos so I'm not connecting to the app. And so what I do is I just keep that as my home screen or in my photos that I can get to. And so if I'm talking to somebody and they go, hey, would love to follow up with you. I'm like, here you go, scan my QR code for LinkedIn. Let's connect on LinkedIn right now. Let's just get connected and be connected. And then we don't have to worry about sending emails or tracking each other down. And so boom, you're connected right there. So make sure, again, that before you go, you know how to get to that QR code. You download it, you put it on your phone, and that you're ready to show that to people if you're talking to them so you can connect right away. And then the next point, I would say this is point number 4, right? So we had prepare and connect with conference organizers and speakers. 2, modify your name tag if you can so you stand out. 3, be ready with your LinkedIn QR code. And number 4, this is the bonus one. It kind of goes to the whole at the conference strategy, and it's about standing out. So there's a lot of people at conferences, and basically if you look at them, they all look the same. We all look the same. We're all like sort of business casual dressed, and we're walking around with like lanyards and bags. And if you see somebody that's really standing out at a conference, you might be curious and you want to talk to them. Or at least if you are the person who's standing out at the conference, people are going to come talk to you and ask you, hey, what's going on? Now, this isn't for everybody. And I know I'm the introvert, but I'm okay wearing something that stands out. I am. I know not everybody is. So if you're not, you might have to find another way, make a brighter name tag or something so you stand out more. I like to wear something that stands out. And I've said this before, I posted about this before, a couple different ways I've done this. This conference that I'm going to, last time I went, it was like 2 years ago, and I had a t-shirt on that said introverted but willing to network. And that was something that some people came up and were like, oh my God, I love your shirt. That's great. You know, who are you trying to network with? I had some conversations with, but it didn't work as well as I thought it was going to. And I think it's because people had to read it and they couldn't really, see it, and it didn't stand out enough. This year, I'm going to try to stand out more. And so you might have seen this picture of me, or you've heard me talk about this, but I have this velvet red jacket. It's like a suit coat. And I'm going to wear that to the conference while I moderate my panels and while I walk around the conference. I have had a lot of success walking around in life wearing that coat, having random people come up to me and be like, oh my God, I love that coat. That's crazy. And then we just start talking. So standing out is a good way to give people a reason to come talk to you, because they're like, I got to know about the coat. So I'm going to wear the coat. It's May in Las Vegas, so it's going to be very hot. I will probably just carry it to the convention center from the hotel instead of putting it on, because I'll be sweating so badly when I get there. And the thing is like most people don't notice because I haven't told them, I have a black coat that's like that, a black velvet coat that's very similar that I'm going to wear on the second day. So I'm going to purposefully try to look a little different to give people a reason to come talk to me. Now, like I said, that's not for everybody, and you have to go with your own boundaries and taste and everything like that. But these are things that I already have and I've been comfortable wearing. So I promise I'll take pictures. I will share them in the future of what I look like in these coats. But those are just a couple ways to make networking less, I would say, make it more successful, right? Less of a disaster. Right? Because if you just go without a plan, if you just go without trying to stand out, you can do that. And that's fine. And you can go to the conference and you can learn things, and you may meet some people anyway. You might just meet people naturally. But if you really want to get intentional, if you really want to have a plan, if you really want to make the most of connecting with people at a conference, do a couple of these things. I promise it'll help you be more confident in your networking. You'll be ready to meet people, and hopefully you'll make one of those connections you can take home with you that you're going to follow up with, because that's the very last bonus tip is anybody you meet at the conference, you got to make sure you follow up with them after the conference. You can't just meet them there and then never talk to them again. You got to follow up. You got to say, hey, I'd like to continue this conversation that we started at the conference, and you got to see where it goes from there. But if you don't do that, it's just kind of a wasted opportunity, and you've already spent good money. You're spending time. You're going to the conference. If you're going to connect with somebody, you might as well follow up and see where it goes. So hopefully that helps. I hope those were some good ideas for you, some new ideas. I'm going to use some of those ideas next week at the conference. So I'm looking forward to a great week. You go out, have a great week, meet some interesting people, and remember, always be connecting.